gentlemen, at this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict, which had been its guiding purpose when it was founded in 1920 at the end of the First World War. Out of the 42 founding member states of the League of Nations, only 3 were African: Liberia, the Union of South Africa, and Ethiopia. Egypt was to join later in 1937. Africa's overall participation in the organization's founding was minimal and relatively unimportant. That's because before all the other talks and meetings, representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. According to this organization's own projections, by the year 2050, more than 25% of the world's population is expected to come from the African continent. Additionally, by 2050, 1/3 of all young people aged between 15 to 24 will be residing on the African continent. So you see, the future of this world is African. Allow me to say this once again a little louder for those of you in the back. The future is African. Already today, Africa is a catalyst for human potential and development, as well as for economic reform and ecological stability. Africa is a catalyst for systemic change. If this reality, which is fact-based and straightforward, seems provocative or unsettling, perhaps it's because you are viewing it through the lens of centuries of filters, colonialism and imperialism, and the resulting implicit bias. Maybe you are unaware of the resilience of African nations or their remarkable ability to make a strong comeback just when you think it's safe to count them out. That is what is happening right now in my own country, Ghana. Our constitution limits leaders to 2 4-year terms. In January, I was sworn in for a second term, which, let me point out, was non-consecutive with my first term. Our currency, the Ghana cedi, was rapidly depreciating, faced with rising inflation, a huge debt burden, and low morale amongst our citizens. My new administration settled down quickly and embarked on an ambitious program of comprehensive transformation designed to restructure Ghana's economic foundation and enhance our competitive standing globally. We refer to this process of recalibration as our reset agenda. In just 8 months, we have achieved significant reduction in inflation from 23.8% in December 2024 to 11.5% in August 2025, restoring price stability for our citizens. Additionally, our currency, the Ghana cedi, has appreciated considerably against other currencies, with Bloomberg reporting it as the best performing currency in the world at one point. Our improved sovereign credit rating reflects increasing investor confidence in our economy, and our 24-hour economy initiative promises to transform our economy. And there's a renewed willingness amongst our people to trust that their elected officials have Ghana's interests at heart and that we're progressing together. Madam President, I believe that in honor of this milestone celebration, the United Nations should also embark on a process of serious recalibration and establish its own reset agenda. Since the organization's founding, the number of UN member nations has nearly quadrupled. And quite frankly, it is not the same world that it was back then when the UN was formed. I mentioned earlier that I began my second non-consecutive term as president this past January. My first term ended in January 2017. In that span of time, 8 years, the world has changed with such ferocity. My first days in office after my return felt as though I had just awakened from a Rip Van Winkle-style sleep.
Da mienu a yɛtɔ so da mienu ɛwɔ bosome September mu. We are live on Today Ghana News TV on this is Nokrembre. Medo bibi ase. I mean, depende etwe mu yɛhyia yɛdwendwen Ghana ho. Me nso ayɛ obo ade ne pese yɛnsan nhyia na yɛndwendwen Ghana ne kan kɔ ho. Enti sɛ nenbre sɛ wopie mu ɛwɔ Today Ghana News TV so na ɛwɔ Facebook bibi a wotie bia no you are at the right place and dwumadi no so na we feed na atima better so mesro sɛ twum we feed no nkɔ bia ma ne na haya na yɛn start ɛmfa dwumadi no nhyehyɛ so na anope in mekai wo sɛ we are live on Twitch, on Facebook, YouTube, the LinkedIn with a search handle Today Ghana News TV. Associate channels are also as your move Samuel mu pushi dwumadi echo miamia Ahine FM 93.5 and no achim hema in the Eastern Region, Kings Radio Accra, Jamframa TV Rara in the OT region, Sekina Information Center and no Tatali Northern Ghana at the Lebanon Community Center, Samuel so almost BM and no Quanta Fans TV Flow Samson Awa She Biano, but I was saying so what you bring now Beckham say in the Ghana come on and Ghana okay. Bidding a na Kofi Apini or Lawrence Apini, but men am deep to medium with chairman and they do medium. Mamika was a best strong cocra na said a die and rep from the NDC, rep from the NPP, no, and then we have a neutral person. Obeka in me, it album. Internet, I promise you nothing but the best. So Obeka on Facebook, I'm sure the Abayama make sure say about like button also, share button on so, but your share. Now, share the NDC same say. Oh, Buama Jumedian Aquatre, ama unia be I o baby, and now Dofu be o baby so it's me. Ehun diaye ana ati diaye ken no so to me din adwencha, but that is why we urge all of you to share it. But your obeka is share no day. It's very, very, very important. Na yen sama na yeni beje. Pacho me semre no. I would like to, introduce the people I have, but before then, no, my main corner, main kofa, and sama etimi ekopie mu ewo the Evening Tribune newspaper no mu ekopie mu front page no enfam brel. Bebre na etwe gu mo Ghana so Evening Tribune the mpacho Mikael Ghana han nsema etwa koben na no se utimi won saka bia obenya dia ekɔ ina wo na wetimi akenkan so that you get yourself abreast with what is happening na once we hu dia ekɔ, you know. So nsema etimi kopie mu bi ne Ghana Mahama CSOS gang up to fight Galamsey. Galamsey fighting there in the best way. Mo hwe na mo nyama na sisi ade edin papa na ene ya de abetu jakra say breast cancer pop up bebe na no yebeka say no fa bebe no Galamsey na yidi say nso ne heavy metals yidi deposit e wo nso no enso eka ho na breast cancer rate no kosoro nti yebesere say mama moye nsade ane mo hwe my say mama CSOS gang up to fight Galamsey menace. We used to say government say Mahama government approved five Ghana daily feeding for prisoners. Hey, that's a Canadian nature say 1 CD something something. You see there. Atum ako 5 CDs. Nature say you know be enjoy some day. Na 5 sino cramp there in the car never say ato account. Oh dear, from 1 CD something pesos now for 5 there. I believe say it's improvement. And see, yes, say a miracle in him better. Petition failed against Supreme Court judge over alleged trial interference. Petition filed against Supreme Court judge over alleged trial interference. But summary in summary to me PM or the Evening Tribune, Ghana's only watchdog newspaper no. We and a a front page and temperature maybe I will be able to make sure say Ghana have baby ano. Which I go most when you there na wakai na wohu de ekɔ Ghana sɛ dem di kan no meda wase me nsɛm no I would like to go straight to my guest and then some I discussing is very interesting sɛ the medical candidate no na my guest me nsa ka ɔmo and then me wɔ opening Bennett Konedu yi Adom ɔno yɛ founder for the NDC Diaspora Communications Network or Communicators Network ɔno na represent the NDC sounds like Dr. Masoud Abongo, chairman of the NPP Russia branch. And Sedemeka, we've been joined by Neil Udemte Lapte, political analyst. Also, he joined us from Poland. Bennett was South Africa. Dr. Abongo, the Russian, or Samuel Mekasi, Wabeka, and so Ghana. The party, the normal from Wambambe cancer. Bedding. And me penny for Samuel 2 leading can join me. Mema Dr. Abongo Akwaba na Oma me in same form you be venture adofuni in starting program doc. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Lawrence.
Akwaba.
Oh, yeah, dear.
Nyame adom Akwaba.
Yeah, you
Na o come then ekoso.
Adiachi. Me camp there. I saw we winning. Your opposition.
And mama just doc
Ansana.
Nyabutre doc Nyabutre and mama just ni na she adofo me no bi na yɛfa program no start yɛ kɔ na yɛ come na bad now after the one mama dey ekoso come from because I said me ma shaky me whom left me whom right we dey adofo me no bi mama na yɛ
nko me that say me person me use this opportunity at chia NPP grassroots bibia meka so bi wo ha me person me kɔ hu na me kɔ Flagstaff House me kɔ grassroots na ma kɔ chia omu bia because omu no kuta NPP omu no ye foundation omu no ye the root omu ye the micro and the macro of NPP and the measure grassroots baby omu bia me person me use this opportunity at chia baby omu bia NPP grassroots na masa use opportunity we chia utie for baby omu bia omu amuhwe YouTube omu amuhwe wo WhatsApp omu amuhwe wo Facebook ye chi obia na masa use all this opportunity chia production 18 baby omu bia and last me person me chia NPP all the delegates especially Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia come 31st December the presidential candidate for 2028. Mimi hwehwemu amaye ena hwehwemu a mushadan kwanso aye kyerɛ sɛ Bawumia bewini nti ebompae na bibia nkoso eyie 31st December na ya declare Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia candidate na ya J power 2028 me that say
so that's it mamenko na mene new data lamte and chuchun komo new data lamte. Good evening. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Good evening. Mima Obia Ajo Ghana Poina. Oh, Poland, yeah. I wanna share now so you name Bibia Bokoano. Medin Chaka Sema One what here for Misani Chaka Sema Mebusa from Ghana, NDC party, President Mahama, Vice President, NDC Busiankoni, Misani Chakes, Mama Dofonum, any Minanum Musomo Polanda, Ija, Minom, Barbara Bonoa. Misansu Child Dr. Bongo, Muna Chelsea, so I'm very, very happy to see him, and I give you all of you greetings.
That's it. Summary, may introduce you, may guest for the evening discussion. Hey, Bennett, join here. Opening Bennett, good evening. Akwaba.
Good evening, Minia. I just saw now. Upon Bokode.
Nyamiadum. And South Africa to say, you made it an
Oba that aroma, Haboko, yeah. You have Mona movie.
Yeah, she to Tunyama.
Sanity.
That's it.
Yeah.
Shadow for me, Yonko breaking.
Yo, Minia, Mr. Stenamidi and Jackets here, Buffy, Akoma, Yaman you reckon the money, Yamame, Jen, none of Pajama. Now, Masadan Jackets here, Quakuma, the party leadership of the year. You were just sitting to Yadano as national chairman, and you were 50 questions, Micha or Bibiana. Name am Papa, some of the Papa, and Medin Jackets here, Kofi, Manamidi Jackets, just of my here for him, phone. Any co-panels, Mr. Odate, and Dr. Bongo, Michelle Bibiara. That's it, Emilia.
Right, Madam must say. Now, Sabrina, men seminar crown, may try me horse some about could be. Now, imagine Kratwa, but I'm back. There will be an nay. Said no, the bet was our moment in some. Safi no be kind saying, go be a train one by a bar. There can be a need bet was.
Africa unite, cause the children wanna go home. Yeah.
Greetings, my name is Ras Mubarak. I'm a former member of parliament in Ghana. On the 18th of August, we're going to begin a very historic journey. A journey driving through 39 African countries that's going to take us well over 4 months, driving for 600 hours, over 40,000 kilometers. And this initiative is endorsed by the government of Ghana. Why are we doing this? We want our continent to unite, and we want our people in Africa to be able to travel within Africa without visa restrictions. You see, Africa has enormous potential beyond anybody's imagination. And if we are united as one people, one continent, if there are no restrictions for us to travel to each other's country, you have no idea what we can achieve together. The economic benefits are enormous. The cultural exchanges, the opportunity to study and learn and tour and see each other's country is just amazing. And so we want you, my friends, to support this. And we appeal to African governments to support the initiative so that together we can make Africa visa-free now.
Africa unite, cause the children wanna go home.
Right, but as I say, when you're brain, still now that's so any train city bidi nkomo afano. Nay, me penifuni na so far more introduce omo na ibidi nkomo afadia akoso ho Ghana's foreign policy vis-a-vis President Mahama's UNGA speech. Of course, no. Na ATB the course. Na uche nsem as a President Tachi on Nsembebe said they are not be a depano cause Africa a future. The future is Africa. No. Obonyama bebre so we would like to touch on some me penifoni na crowd at na say na maminko back to the studio B na many represent many new data lamte I started na so also no they wouldn't make balance no be womb. This is the first time I need join you, Ani.
Yeah, Lawrence, Michelle with you. In fact, although my very very balanced opinion, no, I'll plain and frank say I lean more to the NDC government because Yemubino Yebo Abaya Eye Juma Papa Abwa here for ni sebe Ghana mine on just a little clarification. Say my biases but go a little bit to the NDC side just for clarification. Lawrence, so while share program it's this 80th UN General Assembly of course for US now. We are seeing Bedia Jansen say President Mahama speech no okoma ohono. Any African ni biara or wakumapa or do edema Africa chrono edi shia pepepe edi shiemu. If we say Osha Ghana foreign policy now say you be Ghana home ban say you be di amama ina amra so say you dey obi adam for you obi atam for no say you be sure say Africa Ghana kasa ye man no your interest nyama e fa ye ho nyama important man no say you be home ban no. President Mahama touch us that point in. First of all, Africa being the future no. Yeah, sure. President Mahama very, very important statistic we all say in the next 50 years, no, the youth of Africa is going to be the future in terms of say human capital is very, very high. We sure we are still for youthful population by Africa. We share even COVID the by it taking on, which means that the number of deaths in poor African was very low. And if you look at the birth rate, say Ghana, Africa for Yahoo, and comparing the death, say will be birth and death ratio. No, what you say Africa, no, your birth ratio is so very, very high. Indeed, Sena education Sena, there's a lot of revolution or Burkina Faso or Mali or Niger. There's this very strong feeling, say, as a South African, as a South African, yenne as I say yetimi yenne ewo amama nhiem as a South Africa no yetimi di agina simpie bia obuo any nokori as I say amama ina di ema Africa is so mudi. First of all, remember our example. President Mahama touched on the fact say UN General Assembly no any kwase ma countries ka kree bi pe amama ka kree bi pe ene tumi na veto power etumi di force omo kasa omo nsem. Just say Africa with 54 nations, you need one permanent seat our Security Council. Simple that should be yes, yeah, bomb prices and I say Africa, you need weapons, you need tools, you need akundi baby. At least yes, so your voice yes, you're the General Assembly. And also Africa input on Akoso. President Mahama start touching on Ghana, your trade, any your readiness to say you're open for business. While share sena buy promises omu make here and sena omu edi omu boshe soa agro so if you no pa obi nkan kire say aban where was no they are ready to make the change that we all need. Another thing our President Mahama touched was the humanitarian crisis and also Sudan. Yeah, you Poland and you bet me their dance say in Tokwani by Ukraine. A whole lot of Ukrainians it's not Pakuma assets aban momu even for me a Juma office or other branches, it may relocate your for baby. I didn't know almost from one kind of Canada, the German than is the Someone dinner the boy you came for. As I said, someone dinner need to be share in Ghana, your mind here. Say African politics, because Africa, yeah, man, same. Yeah. The number you now, to me, Ghana free. Kwame Nkrumah fapem ọtụtụ ọnụ ẹnusu na dọma amegyina ya medical needs seminar ẹhan abẹtọ Ghana mine so ewu sẹ yẹn nuanom bi betumi aka sẹ o na ọkọ yẹ na ẹja ọkọ kasa bebree who compare President Mahama the speech oyè ne ne actions back his speech now all making to the previous government there's no way to blame or judge but as I said Ghana for naka sẹ ehu sẹ ọmọ asua nsuo asua nsa ọmọ hwẹ sẹ na Ghana yẹ akọ no. Shasena Yama a pay free General Assembly meeting him. Visa restrictions on basic Ghana for so it just really taking off. work up a big Ghana for because 5 years a boom free. A bit be a my businesses no businessmen say to my mujuma. Me born it tough and bet me say President Mahama his speech no command. We put it me who said American no dream, but he has projected the nation Ghana on a very high pedestal. Say Ghana your man be as say aban papa na was so. Nyama na etwe mu no the money di no omodi akọ. Yaka no say ye bon ban ni aye ni. Nta mama ina mbra some form holding Embeka Ghana at the same time no so as I say Africa obua as say yenya any asumdwe as say yenya any awon farmer as say yenya wo amanyaman no ekuom no so as I say want to be share no mu dis obo ni ye debre so emayen with us.
Clay, me touch on the part I care about the reform of the UN and the global architecture, where he called for the UN itself to undergo a reset agenda. I mean, for
very, very true. What's a mama or a very nice comparison? Okay, I say me mapa ben mo Ghana no. Me must start a reset agenda. You buy the sick assembly and ye now say share at one point in time, Blue Bank a report say Yesika was the best performing currency in the world. Now, UN architecture and it's saying how many times in Africa for it may have a seat or a security council. Each and every day, assembled by every country, that means countries no more to mean or more veto powers. No, to me, the veto, no, to make council decision. Remember a classical example. Recently, Gaza war near custom. When there was a vote to stand against Israel bombing, no more bombing, countries most of them majority voted yes, but US veto no. And the decision couldn't stand. That means UN ayet to say Kamaya and to into the changing of that architecture, no, a bit open the opportunity for equal representation. There'll be equal sovereignty, the respect of the sovereignty of each country. Say, international organization here, international organization. As I say to me, the Oboni and Nama Obia equally. First of all, Mumani Omu representing as president for the session. She's a fifth woman. We need more representation of women too. In the architecture, the whole system of the UN General Assembly based on the 5 strong powers, and as Mama is reshaping Ghana, changing the system, making sure the law is working, making sure that there's massive decentralization. Everybody's part of the governance, the political will, the emotions of the people. Ghana for now is ready. Said they are ready to work with the government. Such changes should also go on in the UN, because it comes to a point in time. Say power country be power not ordained to trust them because all vitonity obedient to me in Canasem. And that makes the UN very weak. If indeed we are going to consider UN, say, an international body that fights for the sovereignty, the peace, economic liberty, for each and every country represented here, then there must be a very strong change in the architecture where everybody's voice is heard and everybody's opinion is counted and not just left for the few bullies, I'll put it in quotes, in the world stage. Because right now the world is moving into a multipolar system.
Neo that tell him to was say, a political activist. Some may join us all the way from Poland, and we only share the thoughts on the speech. President Ekoma or UN. But your main call Benedict Bennett, so now meaning and I would want Mr. Bennett to also help me now in touch on the sovereignty and resources and reparations are President Ekupimu or UN speech of mine. Now you can see he declared the days of parceling out vast concession areas to foreign interest for exploitation must come to an end. But your Osha summary then president tries to communicate in terms of exploiting some Osha a good near the idea in Ampono. I'm a good board number and things like if you take a critical look, you realize that we are not even earning as much as we should earn. Now, government president touch on in some way. No, if you can help me break down, not then on communicating to the people present Oh,
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean some fan check is saying coffee and coma. Yeah, tear for near phobia. Now, let me say your president, Obama Basso, he said, I'm making you very proud. Not only Ghana, the customer service of the Yati, even here in South Africa, to be a bit share Biano, not all comment, they'll say, Ghana for most of the Papa. And I keep on telling them, say, yeah, my mono. There's one thing very important to us, and that is education. And yeah, talk about any service of the and clearly, you were doing the money Mahama I demonstrated that on December 7th, 2024, you're quite about to yeah, and talk about unfair you be a service of the only mode. What making you proud, study really out of that a kind. The attendance said, I've always said that we share the impact of colonialism on the global south are quite massive. And obviously, any part colonialism during the time of slavery, yeah, part of free Africa, over 12 million people those days. So you can only imagine, say, a near can yeah, do obviously every black person I'll be who outside of Africa beyond will be a free African in the course. So we're African, so we're African. Obviously, that person would if we have it. And the damage that exercise have you on the continent, up until now, we still can feel it. And maka in most of my conversations, maka chango for said, so we share particularly we West Africa, I share slave trade air course, and the colonialism air course. So I share the intention behind particularly the British and the French. Now, all they compare some other parts of the world but you can tell that they actually came purely to do business and not to help build this part of the world. Um, my cancer, so what share system is a capitalism. Capitalism is a system abroad, a year apparent say slavery, also if you other colonialism, also if you want. Now, also more call back to Europe, no more design a new system, no more back. And they obviously they are more interest now more interest in gold in their resources. And they had to go and form a new system no money back. Now I'm going to buy gold in the other your resources in the deco. And that is when I'm buy with capitalism, which allows individuals and parastatals to invest in other countries and bring their money back to their domestic countries. And so obviously over Africa, you can see a lot of multinational companies are taking billions of dollars, trillions of dollars out of our continent. There's a report I'm reading here by the Table Investor Foundation of the University of South Africa. Our Mocha said every single year, SICA, multinational corporations, for free Africa, any over $50 billion every single year. And already OECD report on the buy some few years ago, how much they said Africa being here over $80 billion annually in the next 20 years. And yet, to me, average the infrastructure gap between Africa and our counterparts in the Middle East. And so, obviously, it tells you the damning impact of colonialism and new colonialism. And see, your German Mama is very much aware of all these facts. And Omeki this comment, and that is why most people can actually resonate with the statement that Omeki had. He talked about reparations. Obviously, Oba Namibia and Namibia went through turbulent times under Germany. Some years ago, Germany 8 years some compensation. Namibia by no far so omukum nipa bi etiti nipa bi fa ho bi so. And so obviously, it's been done before. It's been done here in Africa. And I think say a core I was say yena yare ko na particularly voices of power. I was say in the me kasa say kwan mo pa so fa ya gudie ne yenu na mo do mo koye kosum ye pa mo say sebe mo bi no bra so say also mo compensate here. Even not only yana yawa African but even omo mo America and Europe, particularly Union African Americans, you see what is a bruise, and I feel that those people need to be compensated. And you read the money, and I think it is the reason why African Americans, particularly, have picked interest in the presentation you read in the money, Mama, So obviously, many I think it's high time on. I was say Europe and America in the advanced world, no. It me eternally. Now I've said I'm say a parcel Africa out, and I say global south out, They should also sit down and plan how to, compensate Africa. Now, yes, we to make this Science Kennedy, I invest in infrastructure. Oba, yeah, my mutu said Ghana particularly. Oshe, Britain for by EBD Ghana so for so many years. But I brought move free Ghana. There was no single university. I know my see Ghanaian University for so many years. No matter say a single university out Ghana. It took Kwame Nkrumah who see your first university. Obviously, University of Ghana now, but it's an affiliate of University of London. Into what so said, Brown Ghana, it was another African. The intention was purely to do business and leave our continent with nothing. And I'm call back to Europe and America. I'm buy a new system by air capitalism, allowing these multinational corporations to come back all in the the name of capitalism to exploit our resources even further. And now we know because the looting is still continuing, it's still happening. And see, Yewa Norman Mahama spoke the minds of many black people, including white people who are very Afrocentric. And so many, I think, say call now Yewa Norman Mahama, it make here a very good call, a call in the right direction. And I feel say, given the outcome, the presentation with regards to US LFT and visa ban this anomaly. HSA a small pen said a drew the quarters are. I was say in also we discuss global issues in the and I believe say in the next few years some of the demands and answer requests are you the man Mahama will begin to manifest. And it will not be too far from now. Obviously, the call is getting louder and louder. And a lot of young people, particularly the African people, are becoming enlightened. And I feel that if the United Nations said the Mama can and find a balance between the advanced world and the global south, you basically obey the African leaders now you pull it out of the United Nations. So I feel that it's the core and end up global or candidate. You support that core. It cannot be say a continent like Africa. You want a population of about 1.4 billion with a GDP of about $4 billion, $4 trillion. NTME and United Nations need to tear the and more. After years of colonialism, after years of exploitation, we are still being undermined by the global West. And I feel that it is not fair, and Africa is getting enlightened. And if I'm make a decision, and as I believe that it sounded so clearly in their minds, and they would begin to act in line with some of the demands that Omeki and many reparations here, and I know say a time is coming a very strong conversation will be had over that topic. And I said me a compensate here because for years. What they are all doing it young sanctuary room or be a bit so was it. Now share a choir ya possible to gold for the past century, for the past 100 years. Now share of you ask yourself say a honey baby and gold near a day two gold for more than 100 years now. I mean, Mumba fire and gold near timber near manganese near the core. No one may just 5%, or may just 10%. Even taxes in Mbuka almost they find ways to evade taxes. Africa say. And so obviously, I think say it is high time. I would say African leaders come together. Not only African leaders, about the Caribbeans. They are all part of the African continent. Back together. Now, yetimi make a single call, and they say, or say, you compensate here. And again, not just compensating us. In here, a fair and equitable system. Africa, so a very strong say in whatever decision affects Africa, because it cannot be said global leaders about what say no one discuss what happens to Africa without Africa's consent. It cannot be. It cannot be. I think that the time has come on. What Africa in a very strong voice. Decision table. No, we cannot be servants on the table for that long. Now, a appropriate group money as I said. na yɛ tɛm bia yɛ sɛ bi wɔ hɔnom and said the era a year the normal mama kaye na yewura Kwame Nkrumah kaye many years ago no I think say the voice is being re-echoed and it is right as say you know amplify the same call now global leaders ATN if you said Africa and then I mean oko baby a white dominated countries in Kokrana now call baby I say 70 part you would definitely find an African person on this level even in majority countries. And can I say, I've system, over you still find African people serving. Of course, restaurants are. I mean, you will still find African people. Maybe I could be before the SAV, it has been a tradition. And I think that it is the reason why I'm moving say we are not of age. And see, this is the common core. I mean, I've got a very strong interest in this agenda because I'm share acquire slavery, any colonialism, any Africa far so. Me and Kasan mine in particular, Ghana, far so. I mean, what South Africa has say, we share the legacies of colonialism or Asia. You can tell, say, they actually came to develop this place because they wanted to dominate South Africa, which is why even after colonialism, they still wanted to stay and they developed the system of apartheid. Black people, I mean, and because now Abroad invested so much in South Africa that they could not just let it go. Massa, West Africa, they just came, looted our resources, and left our land there. And see, they were the man our corner or making a very clear call. And what's that? Global leaders, particularly the beneficiaries of colonialism, or what's what say. Now, not just within themselves, also invite Africa. Africa should be part of that panel. Now, again, discuss how you compensate Africa. We are poor because the system is designed to make us poor. And I think that this is the time I was say you make it that common call. Nti menia me de asedana abasbon ye kese ba koma yero de normal mama say me kind na. I mean, I'm so happy to see how people all over the world, including white people, including non Africans, comment this speech yero de normal mama e make here. It is a clear demonstration that the world is interested in the demands that Omeki and in no time we should begin to see the impact of the speech of Omeki. Menia, me that's it.
Medase, Penny Bennett Punido. Mamembo na menko cheki ewo ura bunga so na me sure say that time Mr. Bongo say president my speech no be you and not the near papa because then in some other president touch I'm sure say benefit him. Mr. Abongo Doc. You know it in some president ekupi mo ewo you and no Odituja as many people are talking about Omampeni President Mahama. And so make sure that once we need you in some more kind of first of all, we agree on some more kind of people.
Lawrence, Mr. Obama me kwan na ma chia me kurumfo, especially upper east delegate me chia wo gruni kasemu. Bolga Roma, Bolga upper east region. Mpoyame upper east region Bolga capital. Na Mpola Bolga upper east central. Mpoya za awi delegates yebozingo ka Mpoyame. Bolga east Mpoya za awi Bongo constituency Mpoya za awi me. Yeminga Dia, Yeminga Kima, Yeminga Yemka. Abongo Joko mwana so Mpoya za awi me. Lawrence, media say Ghana president echo for national assignment me say Ghana enu de
No, okay.
sorry enu any opposition any NDC Ghana once or a Ghana president ni there or say you know supporting and to be frank with you Okoye and Nikasa many year I was a proud Ghanaian. You say president, a man is speaking. I was very proud because one Kasa as a Ghanaian president too, or Kasa as Pan Africanist, or Kasa my African for you now. And I was very proud of his speech. And me throw on Facebook crowd. So the president here there, the speech ni there, my endorse the speech no, and I'm a man 100%. But Obagana there, incompetent ni there, Nima or any there, me for so or Magana for which there. And the speech
but Doc, and then some of our on and who first no Ghana there, you still see him as incompetent.
yes, because on no or my speech no, there be no kind or say United Nations no. Ni laws no na say ni article no say or say country be equal or say in a Soviet the same thing. Now so over Ghana hanum na galamsey ayami yi galamsey uyi galamsey ya who ya bias because galamsey is the same as legal and illegal mining. But me using irresponsible and illegal mining. Omo mining ebi say yensu now so gold board your president ma hwɛ so ama sami jemfi ɛtɔ illegal gold almost say yensu wei nyinaa no ɛnyɛ because the speech no ɔka about global warming, right? They come about global warming, then it goes back to ya asase a ɔmo pollute, ye trees a ɔmo dwigu, ye nsuo a ɔmo pollute, ye air a ɔmo pollute. Over irresponsible illegal mining nso a ebi mu kɔ yɛ forest a ni kɔ sɛ ɔmo na ɔmo kɔ mining na ɔmo ku yɛ trees no yɛ forest no na president wakɔ gyina international platform aka mo ɛpreso na so ɔba fie a you don't do what you are supposed to do, right? And you can make us say nationally international na baby all platform na ɔkasa no yes ɔkasa ma mini here as a president of Ghana, but he spoke like pan-Africanist. Or Jina Ekasama African, and then I am the pa say illegal, no, can say Gaza, conflict echo Gaza, no. Or say, yeah, so. I said crime going to Gaza, no. He was bold to speak. You know, he said Gaza. It is the America and the other European America and other European countries and they supported Gaza. Sorry, Israel, because America is supplying the weapons, supplying them. Eti okasa san miniji ya pa se okasa san miniji ya pa. Lawrence, osa hwɛ so a ne kasa a ɔkasa yɛ no o make statement bi a m'ani gye yɛ paa sɛ at least ɛwɔ sɛ Africa ɛyɛ seat only sɛ ɛwɔ 6 countries a wɔwɔ the UN security no a wɔtumi veto that 6 countries no Africa nka ho deɛ wɔyɛ from permanent 6 menim sɛ China ka ho USA ka ho Russia ka ho I said Germany and other countries. And the Osha, I was say Africa, I was 56 countries. I was say at least yan Kurana, any representative of Africa, I will become permanent 6 security no home. It is animal all kind of me fun show. I was very proud of his speech. But let me also make that statement. Fast backwards. Sɛ yɛbɛkae a Nana Akufo-Addo ntu made this statement ne speech no kora no ɔkɔka sɛ Ghana beyond aid ɛna ɔstate sɛ Ghana or Africa should not be going to the Western nation begging for arms. We should rather be giving them because we share resources na yɛwɔ no a biribia yɛwɔ no a Africa yɛwɔ biribia nea aborɔfo no nyɛ biara na nea wɔn lack no Africa yɛwɔ biribia eti wohwɛ nea ɛyɛɛyɛ no a this is not the first time a Ghanaian president making history about his or her speech ɛna ɔbɛka nso a John Mahama and as a President John Mahama, any statement, also quote President Nelson Mandela, former President of South Africa, statement on my. So, which man will say, African presidents, when they always go there, they make a lot of speeches. They make touching speeches. Kaya, Mugabe called some time, a cultural Bush, I don't need your money, you shouldn't be gay. Or make his statement, popular. And the African presidents have been making history in their speeches anytime they go to the United Nations meetings. And there is Met Macassan speech in a year. It was touchy. Obiaka Wasem. But a African president are making that kind of speeches. So it is not all that exceptional, but I'm very proud that the president made those speeches. Nipa ya dia osayiye. When yine ya me say ni din. Enti ohonum de nko adia ye president no oyade. The speech ni
Now,
de we support no.
Doc, about the resetting agenda. No? Now, most of these are kind, it be what, particularly with the resetting agenda. No, one in join because now in the submission, no, about the inflation now. It's me about from 23.8 in December now about 11.5 as in against in 2025. Most of this, no, do you agree with him? Because most of our encounters, no, you've always said that a normal President Mahama has been able to achieve during his term of government, I quite say a normal NPP government lay down on a benefit. That is why. Do you agree with him on that?
Who say me a devia me come statement. Me say NDC bar power no. They came to inherit the seeds that MPP sow. And the eduana edua no. And the NDC bar a harvested.
So, one
So
in
all the statistics, the economic achievement of the current John Mahama second coming, and as the NDC government, policies ni na ye NPP fruits and omu enjoy. Omu fruits no, you be next year, right? And the same me judge NDC this time enjoyment amu ye no, ni ma omu enjoy ni na no. Especially economic aspect no, NPP fruit amu enjoy, right? Nti sɛ wobɛhwɛ dollar no ɔmo baeɛ no na ɔmo si dollar no wɔ 17 ɔmo te so ma ne ba 10 but wohu sɛ dollar has started rising again ɛnyini bio right nti sɛ afei na ɔmo adwo so ɔmo economic ideas ɔmo economic management team a ɔmo bɛyɛ ɔmo policies nti economic policies of NDC is still at the nursery stage. But the economic policy of NPP is at the fruit state. That is the fruits they are enjoying. That is NPP fruits they are currently harvesting and enjoying. NSC and Oma Plant TV, it is at the nursery stage. And they will enjoy more fruits next year. So all what I have to say is that John Mama is enjoying our labor, we NPP. And the ideas, the economic management team chair was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, right? So Nana Akufo-Addo Juma Oye no, or struggling the second time no, the fruits na NDC then enjoy. Once we employ youth, why I'm proud they have employed all those kind of youth. That means yeah Juma apesika to one more meeting my tueka. Nina ni NDC. But na me then say Malik Basintele, a man mistake NDC cano because ni papa Abuga Pele ɔno nso na ɔyɛ YEA CEO ɔkɔsi financial loss to the state ɛma John Mahama ɛkyim etu mu eti Basintele nso ɛma ne yɛ mistake meni da hɔ mehwɛ no yɛyɛ investigation yɛhwehwɛ nneɛma bi yɛhyɛ nkɔfo bi a wɔn wɔ anagram ɛhwehwɛ nneɛma a ɛkokɔ no so no eti by next year wobɛhu the fruit of our research and our investigations eti Lawrence near me was a mechano. Or we enjoy your fruit. So they can brag about it because it's our fruit. And the end, Ghana phone him say, NPP fruits and NDC carrot from enjoy.
Right. I think the major submission, doc, really said that we were ultimately to say you are proud of this President Mahama. And a stage you'll take here and a speech I will deliver, you enjoyed it today. I can't even say much about it. You've confirmed everything yourself. I would like us to move to the next topic. I can about multi-choice pricing and standoff. What's the way forward? On this particular one, I would like to even start with Bennett because multi-choice is a South African company and more Ghana. Comparing their services and the packages, price, maybe Bennett being in South Africa can best tell us, said a hono, she share anything, any but then more questions being person beside, but my main call Bennett when I'm in starting. Bennett, and Chabiana, opening some George. Also for share communication. So, and send me a bit to about multi-choice, DSTV in particular, more services packages Bianca or preset. I want to don't fancy sharing Guaquim, say the bear, so I will Ghana and be Harry. Do you think, say, in a way, a bino not a pressure be in order to campaign so? Were we considering also what goes in or more productions or more and the kind of services more you cheat you?
Yo, Minia, Medasipi, Masai Achia is here for phobia. Minia, I would say we live in a free market economy, but even with that, government still has a role to play. The sole purpose of every business is to make profit. And if you allowed absolute monopoly, they can just set up prices and exploit consumers. That is how free market is. It's all about making profit, regardless of who is feeling the pinch or whatever. However, it's very sad that for many years, a price regulatory authority are regulating prices over Yemen. And so over the year, companies about they tend to exploit consumers without recourse to any law because there is none to actually restrict their activities. The ECOSO Ghana is here between the ECOSO is here. It actually points to how state institutions over the years actually the Ghanaian consumer. And these companies, I feel so entitled. Say, don't pay and we are Yemen. Minia, I'm making this example. I'm for NTN and services here. Over South Africa, Hana NTN free, say the multi-choice for free. When you're over Hasia, the functions are MTN, a play or Ghana. They cannot play some of those functions in South Africa. Reason being that they are highly regulated. The financial system here is highly regulated. And so MTN cannot operate within their own terms. They have to go by what the South African Constitution or the South African law says. And South Africa, the Consumer Protection Commission, they say, will protect consumers against price collusion and against exploitation. And I made a post and said, the MTN, any multi-choice, I would remember MTN in future because I'm the way. The multi-choice area of Ghana, I want to mean here South Africa. Meaning, minimum wage per month, Ghana, any I have said, the gap is very huge. The gap is very huge. Say, South Africa, ni you man say, but so me say na catch any kwana. What the convert by you see come on, more than 3,000 Ghana cedis. They say na catch any kwana. That is the minimum you can pay any worker in South Africa. Say, So share MTN multi-choice packages in Ghana. Now to compare South Africa, we are paying almost double of what is being paid in South Africa. Now the question is why? If numbers and multi-choice for a day can, your population was so 10 Botswana, your population was so 10 Swaziland, your population was so 10 Malawi. So if population now multi-choice for the case, if we don't have the numbers, and so that is the reason why in here more price in what's right. I mean, why should multi-choice pricing higher in Ghana than countries among bombers? Ɛkyerɛ sɛ ɔmo mfa anidie ɛma Ghanafoɔ. Ɛkyerɛ sɛ multi-choice for a loophole in our system, and that loophole means say ɔmo will say Ghana is politically divided, and so even if say demand now will be making provide demand as long as the Nepalese political uniform not making there will be a faction on sorry etia the custom. And so multi-choice is capitalizing on that divide and they cannot come here now omu stand so firm on their stance say I mean they cannot do that in South Africa. Now the question is, if you cannot do it in South Africa, why do it in Ghana? Why do they feel so entitled? Say I mean, South Africa here, there is every single household there multi-choice. I mean, the DSTV. In fact, I buy an told the coders and the man or more because right to information is found in the Constitution, and multi-choice provided a service. I provide information to the citizenry. And if multi-choice is even performing the same functions of more performing or South Africa or Ghana, then they are not ready for our market. If they feel that your market is so minute and into service or more free Ghana finance or more they should just pack their things and leave our country. You cannot continue to undermine state institutions. And I made this comment somewhere, said the very person I'm blaming in all these issues. The country director for multi-trust Yemen, Mr. Felix Kwache. I don't know if the name is right. He is the very person or standing behind multi-trust or Ghana or the ecosystem. He is the country director of our company. And Ghana has, when I say the Minister of Communications, I make a clear case. I said, so all compare Tyson or Ghana against our counterparts on the continent, we seem to be paying way higher than our counterparts. So just reconsider your pricing system. Now, yes, the only thing I will to my as country director and say, you write a letter to Johannesburg. Just write a letter to Rosebank and as a Midrand. Now petition almost say this is what government of Ghana is saying, and in your case, you just persuade the body in South Africa, and I can tell you, say South Africa, company be free, very very democratic. They will listen. But then the country director now, all Ghana CC and I just say, he knows how the political system is, and he's gonna capitalize on that. Now, is so fair and so dogmatic on his position, and they know that because more monopoly over sports and all these channels, say Abania will move free Ghana, then people will turn around and start blaming the government. And so let's be dogmatic on our position and make sure that we frustrate the government. That is exactly what the company is doing, but they cannot do it in South Africa. In fact, as I said earlier, Saudi prices in Ghana compared to South Africa. We are paying almost twice of what is being paid in South Africa. Yet South Africa has a very competitive, salary structure. Over South Africa, you will get to.
If packages now, South Africa, if you have comparison, packages now more South Africa compared to Ghana.
Yes.
Balance, let's say.
I mean, as I said earlier, Yeah, all the packages no I work Ghana not compare South Africa as here. We are paying almost double our fee. Oh Ghana. For instance, Missy Compact Plus. Missy Compact Plus. Mitia Chroma scheme, Mitia Chroma scheme, how much is that? 480 rand, which is literally somewhere around 120 Ghana cedis or something. That's how much I pay. Compare that to how much is being paid in Ghana. It's if not more than times two. You see, so the price differential between the air cost for Ghana and Hassan is way too wide. And way too wide. And I said, even if MTN and multi-choice was say there was some joy the Bible things almost say Utria Utria premium and Utria what is compactor, you will get compact plus channels. So even if they agree to that, even though they've reduced their prices quite considerably, we are still more expensive compared to most of their markets outside of Ghana. Even if so almost it say there's so I don't know the packages I hope but I know say compact plus premium there. I'm very confident because they're very universal. Say Utria compact Ghana. Now say you your compact now the 380 Ghana cedis Utria Ubenya compact plus channels meaning even at that price now within that compact plus channels we are still more expensive than the HO of South Africa has it. You are still more expensive. So multi-choice cannot tell us if they reduce their prices and they will be making losses. I mean, the question is, why should having a multi-choice disc be a privilege? I had a very strong conversation with somebody earlier in the day, and I told him having a DSTV at home should not be a privilege. It should not be. And to say, as our man or TV or DSTV or PR, I say you are the biggest person in the area. Why should that be? Why should that be? I mean, and that day I was saying, and I also said, so we share the management of the company or Ghana, they are not being strategic because there is something in economics of scale. If you're able to produce more, even though you sell at a lower price, you still make more profit because you're selling a higher quantity. And he said, "Oh, say, I'm how about Ghana for 5% when they use to." Now, your man said, "So now, numbers will jump to 50%. I mean, why don't you do it? You'll be working with numbers here. You'll be working with numbers, and that is why I keep on blaming the country manager of the company. And he's been deceiving the headquarters. Rosebank, Johannesburg. If he could persuade them, if he could make a strong case, say this is what the government of Ghana is saying, and this is what I think, or this is why I think, say if we go by what the government is saying, we should be able to grow our numbers. Ghana. I mean, why don't you do it? Because research can say there are more than 5 million decoders. The reason why I said those decoders are say, when you compare the issue of Ghana or Nigeria, we are paying way too much. And say better so that's small move Ghana. No, it's Nigeria decoder. At the end of the day, your taxes are also you and as you multi-choice on and the taxes in the bank Ghana money have size carry for Nigeria. Size carry for Nigeria. So government is very right. And say all country multi-choice say you should reduce your prices. And I still want Yoruba some joy. So very fair because he's got the support of the majority of Ghanaians. And I believe say the Omade Babon say you are some joy some of the kind say or wanted some packages just for a period of time a promotion on way. I know say they are just testing the market. I know say they are just testing the market because they are saying say it's subject to review. And which would happen after December 31st. And I know say after that they will continue with that with the new system now on their bank. They're just trying to test the system to see if they'll be able to break even and make some margins. I think that's what they're trying to do because you cannot fight a regulator. If you cannot do it in South Africa, you dare not do it in Ghana. I've been having serious conversations with the top guys in South Africa, and I've been telling them say even though I'm in South Africa, but I'm not in support of what is happening in my country because I feel that we are being exploited. And this is not just a 1 year thing. It's been happening for so many years, and not only multi-choice. A lot of companies Ghana exploiting Ghana for because they see the Ghanaians naturally Ghana for 70 greedy. Say Ghana never kufa a boxer short or China 1 cedi. Or one also on follow a 50 Ghana cedis of boxer. And the companies never Ghana. They see those loopholes. They see it and they begin to emulate say. This is the very reason why it's here. Companies now all Ghana no. It keep on exploiting Ghana for. I mean, what they your packet needs show Ghana and compare Nigeria. So Obi will share premium of Ghana. It's almost $80 converted into dollars. The same package, I will be on Nigeria. No, less than $25. Why should that be the case? Why should that be the case?
Me also fire new. Now we wrapping up in just a minute. Messing about change. Honestly, in just 1 minute now.
Yeah, and they make camera position and say multi-choice has a role to play. They are a media institution. They have a role to play in making sure that they disseminate information. And if say back in South Africa, they should not do the same thing over your Chrome. I mean, over South Africa this year, yeah, multi-choice and a sponsor of Premier League. Say, for South African League, the difference is what South African League, any European League, and you're wide systems, and multi-choice appropriate a lot of money. And as a DSC, appropriate a lot of money into their football. But you have been in Ghana for so many years. I've never seen multi-choice almost sponsor a project to become Yemen. There's no corporate social responsibility on their part. They are being so insensitive to the Ghanaian consumer. Yet you still have a lot of people, because of political lenses, condemning what Mr. Sam George. In fact, Ghana pay yes some mad go na obi be so say you say all come and bad pay because if the political party we see. I mean, what kind of logic is that? And so the mechanic, the cabinet director of multi-choice, is very much aware of a political space, and he knows that Ghanaians will stand up, for him. And it's why it's so dogmatic on his position with regards to the air person. But said America cannot. There was some judge to stand very fair because I know for sure. I said multi-choice ain't even head away in South Africa. And if they cannot do it in South Africa, they should not do it here. I mean, in so many areas, now multi-choice have to call Ghana. In so many article, over who I say, send so many DSCB, they so talk. Now it's I had the right to sue them because I'm paying for the service. And so they come so many article.
Bennett, hold on. I think the message about was to be now. Mamenko Obenia Bongo and even though multi-choice I comply with whatever the terms are, communications minister Edia Tuja. Now, Mr. Bongo Bambasem say, Nanka saw Moon Train say looking at the CD appreciation, no. Nanka as a multi-choice and train ma all these issues and coming up and Sanka or wondering about any price reduction.
Mr. He should bow his head down in shame. Sam George, no, he should bow his head down in shame. And yet,
what in what sense?
And yet, one the solve issues, and that's what the solve problem. And yet, one what did he tell us? He told us that the banquet premium or premium banquet cost Ghana $83, right?
Yeah.
And in Nigeria, $29 of the same package, right? But he is refusing to analyze it like a communicator. I know he's influenced or to me communicate, but this basic analysis, you can't make it. But Obi wa Ghana, so ye juma no nye 1,000 Ghana. Udu call Nigeria sikamwa, into millions of Nigerian naira. So automatic. Saudi Arabia caught Nigeria, almost taxes. The cost of doing business will be less because of the value of their currency. But over Ghana, the taxes no, because your currency is strong. The taxes no, and the cost of doing business no, very high. Yes. So can we feel say Kasakurana? Everybody wants cheap prices. Me pay cheap. Obia pay cheap. or no can so pay cheap price. But he should have done it the diplomatic way. And you want to big no the you. And you want to de no the way. Let them car no. Ebum wa ha mo kasa ba ha e kasa rough. At time I should say or say yin et okotene baby. I remember Rollis time. Say if my memory serves me right, or say baby with sharp teeth. And those baby with sharp teeth, he was referring to Akujota Blakwa and Kwache and Sam Georgie. Ni sharp teeth no na he can bite. My who says you know, or yeah, or say, oh, it's not all the time that the lion have to roar. Sometimes the lion have to just show his teeth. So today he's telling Ghanaians that the roaring he can't roar again. He have to not show his teeth. To see oh who level. Eti Lawrence, ocean all kana. Now that is not how the way to go. They are doing business. Ghanaians are enjoying it. Ghanaians are saying the cost is high. So what should you do? You have to use diplomacy. Also, come so. Also, that also no mukasa. No promise Ghanaians. But many they to say Ghana is authoritative. I've been saying it anytime NDC come to power, they behave as if Ghana is an autocratic country and I practice autocracy. Ghana is not practicing autocracy or aristocracy. Ghana is practicing aristocracy, whereby a group of people are a ruling country. You know? And I say autocracy, whereby a single individual have all the powers to do whatever he wants to do. No. Ghana is a democratic nation. And to no failure, say, you know, all kinds of price near high. Obeka chiro no more reduce to Nigeria prices no. Nigeria 29, Ghana we still pay $83. Per ni ono oko fight yeah no. If I should read, according to some George, Ghanaian subscribers can now enjoy between 33% and 55% more value across all packages at no additional cost. Ne actually say price no can say Nigeria 29 and Ghana 83 no. Still Ghana eventually 83 no. But omudi nima bi ba be ka ho.
It is a package is account.
Aha.
If you are enjoying less,
okay, somebody nima bi ba be ka ho say ebia na 83 na etua no. Na over 10 channels a wo hwe. Uko Nigerian so 29 ono so 10 channels share. But on over 29 Ghana be $83. And I say Nigeria they no still almost 10 channels no. Right? Ghana with 29, Ghana still enjoy 10 channels no with 83, but only 5 channels back count. I say back 50% and about 33%. So I don't know which is which. And in your patron say that amount, you know, and one between and the channels never account. Now, who be say me sports na me share. Then be sports na me share. If you me the two news kakra. 82 channels na me share. Me can hear me say price no esunte. Now, say the channels need be account. 10 okra mo ntima share and the whole day. Me share 2 channels pe. Who says all the 10, all the 5 have coming home? For what cost? Me to me just at 10 na me 5 10 okra me to me share. Indicative one mommy. Because your mama say in so and a light bill, no water bill. PURC and I said power the producers, the utility producers, no Omaba say they want to increase it. Omni proposal one some increasing 225%. And HBI water bill near light bills no ever double 3 times. Now DSTV why big so over Eswatino. One time here. Is it not part of the incompetent? I will say ye sacking. Or say you need ye sacking ye permanent man in continent baby. Because he's incompetent. He can't do anything. You promise and fail. How can you promise Ghanaians and fail Ghanaians? And at the same time, how can you threaten an independent organization who have invested so much in Ghana? Not threaten them. Why? I don't say it to me amount Ghana is Ghana need to me more. They to me more so be some here. Ya can't just say be detect my ade a wontumi ya men promise so betumi aye. Onti bo no so, wanti bo no so a ye beti ne post no so. Obi kasa kire no. Obi a otie mi say Sam George onko hu DSTV for say o promise so beti bo no so. Wanti bo no so dia, ye say beti ne post no so as communication minister. Now Asaba as non-communication minister or zero communication minister. The mighty minority in parliament, Oma ba have a press statement, and that is their demand. Enemy form also say Sam George on resigning peacefully. One resigning John Mahama on unity because we don't want incompetent. And then Pia or the Ghanaians, Charles Kelly. To your body say born, no, they call say, no, they say, no, yeah, person animal, no. So, to me, yeah, man, yeah, promise and fail, no, he's incompetent. We don't want baby with sharp teeth.
Doc, me say bisa first no say infant say now will be enjoy each channels, and this is just an example. So we enjoy 8 channels. Infant so uchia 200 cities for subscription. Next is here no obe enjoy ebia 10 channels. Now we cheer 200 now. Is it not a win-win affair? Now, Sabia say, import win to me and Tissa Sikanusuna, the person has more channels. I say still win.
No. It's not. Enter me, yeah, and simple. I just use my own as example. Me see me channel, no. Me kura me
No,
also.
Okasa Amahu, and now you are saying what the majority.
No, I'm a Ghanaian. And if you are doing research, you take a sample. Ghanaians say 23, about 33 million. But some me a researcher, I can use only 100 people to represent all Ghanaians, the 33 million Ghanaians. I can even use 5 people to represent all Ghanaians. Me if nipa 5 are randomly, no me be so questions are no more year. Make me the IM research based on the research sample. Ghanaians say no more pay, and also say no more pay. And me using me as my example, and I'm using me down madam as my example, and I'm using me family, household as an example, as a sample, right? And I'm say, your channel, me can't channel now also. But the channel in your say 5 krana. I can tell you, say, 2 pe na me tanhwe. Omo me no omo we wo fie no so. Ebimu so ba ko pe na omo hwe. Me enye sports news. Omo enye movie. And it say 3 channels na hwe na. O say aka chem say o di another 3 hour be count. I mean, they got 2 TV, but I have only 1 TV, and I'm subscribed for this channel. I did not tell them that the channels are me one. It's almost being count. They say expensive, so right, expensive, so, and on all the be account. And what failure, what disappointed, disappointed minister of communication. And we don't want any disappointed Minister of Communication to continue on resigning another President Mahama and Yinidi. No Edoso, right? Edoso.
Doc, earlier, no, maybe sir, question about the appreciation of the city. I think so. Even though one mommy who stands on the whole issues near there, but Nanka the appreciation of the city nearby now, the city was doing well and all that. On the market, we saw some of the prices drop, and I was looking forward to say, even poor Nanka, you say you're till this time for us to have this conversation. Nanka immediately, when this happened, some of the prices should also drop coming from the multi choice. And then I'm person can touch mommy on that.
Yeah. Then we can say that is true. Yeah, okay. Then we can say, then we can say, Sam George is a loser, right? Who making very good statement. Not only 17 cities is to 1 Ghana city, right? Memphis said 16 when they took power. And because of good economic management and economic policies you see Emma NDC inherit Emma dollar about 10 cedis to $1. And what Marcus say next 7 cedis are reduced. And if anything now to or say reduced by that percentage, and to share 17.5%, it's almost a reduction of almost 30%, right? And now can you $83 no na dollar no 1 cedi to 17 $1 to 70 cedis no, so automatic NDC buy na price reduce here no na ka was say rate no subscription fee no automatic and reduce it. Sam George na go fit my ni agreement no based on that. Anytime me can say economically no NDC government no a wiki Ghanaians, because kami wa bochire me sending $100. Tell my name people what power no. Kami bush any even 1,600, right? Because net $1 is equals to 1,006, right? And as I see I $83. And to that means now can me bet you a subscription fee now. Can bet you somewhere 1,000, right? Say see normally about 10. And 70,000 bar. Every me the 100 bar every 1,000 Ghana cedis. And the 1,000 Ghana cedis no, me go to me subscription now. She inka. And the say omari $2 no rate no. But uko joma nima prices no. Start is here no sa na tie. And ntina me can say NDC omu ye 419. Because I see economy a year dollar have depreciated against the cedi, right? Cedi no one and there was said name na ewo jom no so esote. And na me can say me set a very good example. Mami use cement. First, na cement is 200. And me say 1,006 me timi 8 bags of cement, right? Tell my name people what power no. Anyway, mo buy here. Every you see city no pa. And they say me $100 me 1,000 Ghana cedis. But cement bo no e da so 200 na. And they say me $100 and this ba power na. Me 5 bags of cement. Right? But if you want power no, na me 8 bags of cement. And me lose it. Me $100 no because city na I strong no. Ama dollar rate no akofom. Right? And na go say NDC. Na go say mo force e money ma we den work of because first na me say $100 NPP time it me to 8 bags of cement. Omo $20 no me to 5 bags. Na go say mo timi ye ma cement bo no say den esuti so that me $100 na me to 8 bags of cement me to 8 bags of cement. That is why I can say Ghanaians no escape here. You who said no. And it's dollars Ghana about 10 cities. Dollar to Ghana about cities. Economy a year. Now so if you go to the market, Nima bo soon here. And the economy you lose it. Wow.
Okay, Doc. I think so. Doc, my what's not some judge a person on share say even though the prices almost great, but let's talk about the value for money and the fairness in service delivery.
Uh-huh.
So it's not just about lowering the price, just like but not yet value on the service. Now, provide the value on our money we pay and the fairness when it comes to service. Now, we can make a point about, let's say, channel I was subscribing to Oshe. Now, if we wait to meet here for 80 cities or let's say 100 cities, now what some George Eka said, they are all the money. When you go elsewhere, they are paying less and enjoying more. Until their and more fast service in the one. Was he on the and what is wrong with that?
Lawrence, that is what I'm saying. That is not what Ghanaians are demanding for. That is not what Ghanaians are asking. Ghanaians
But
are asking
majority of the
that
population
if
are
you go to
complaining about the
Nigeria,
service. Most
it's
of the
29. Ghanaians asking if you go to Nigeria, it's 29 of the same subscription, the same value, right? But if you come to Ghana, it's 80, 83. It's almost 3 times that of Nigeria's one. The same channels. And Ghanaians are asking that we should reduce the price. And you have gone to add more channels to the same price. And I'm saying that Ghanaians are not looking for the channels. Because how many times do some of the parents stay in the house? Of late, how many hours do kids even stay to watch TV? Right? My kids, they go to school in the morning. By 7, they are up. They will not even watch TV. Off they go to school. They'll come back around 4. One have to go to football training. That is football academy. 4 o'clock have to go back to the academy. One have to go to music school. Right? Omeba fienu, not 8 abo. Omunye time, me the 2 cartoons are, omupe cartoons, me the 2 cartoons are, 1 hour time, omada, omutimi she cartoons no. Na the see no me say my price no so ntia. O say udi bi aka me ho. Ne e wo suru kura no mitimi she ni na, no say di bi aka me ho. That is not what we are asking. We are asking of price reductions, not more channels. That's what I say.
Okay.
And we are telling some judge that he promised that he will give us price reductions, just like in Nigeria. And we agree to that terms and condition. So some judge have breached the contract that he had with Ghanaians, the contract that we Ghanaians had with him. We gave him an assignment to go and reduce the prices, and he went to increase the channels for us. 1+1. Akwụsọ watchman akwara sị kọtọ wachi n'itali ebremi ọkọ ya asị ma atọ tali atọ gari aka ho mitu mi mpe gari mitu mi mpe wachi n'itali a wodi mi sika ni bi akọtọ atọ gari aka ho wow enti wachi dudu na aka mi pe no kra no mi sa anye sa. That is not
Doc,
what we ask some judge to do.
Doc, Cecian, what's the way forward?
Yes, the way forward is that some judge should set aside what the competence and the experience of the age man on to me yet. Multi choice crown, no move no, Oma winu no, and the who say only a cro, only a kudro, and he lacks the experience in engaging. He lacks the skills to be a minister, right? He can be a minister. Minister and Kasasa. Minister does everything diplomatically before he realizes results will come. In any case, Lawrence, do you know we have Consumer Protection Agency? This work should have been given to Consumer Protection Agency. I don't know if Consumer Protection Agency is under him. We have National Communication Authority, which is a regulatory body, which is under the ministry. These are the institutions that we are supposed to engage multi-choice. And the minister have to stay back. But if you are a minister and you take yourself forward this way, you are disgracing the ministry, you are disgracing the government, and in all, who disgrace it? Yeah, Ghanaians for no. Multi-choice, Omuni minister, Omuni president, just a private entity. He has won over the whole ministry, which is, if they say Ministry of Communication, Ghana Minister of Communication. And the Ghana in Adam so our company, private owned company, are defeating our winning. And our preachy contract, minister should not be involved in this thing, this bargaining, and you go and lose. And what we are demanding is that he should be sacked. Young Pamno, and I say on resigning. Minister John Mahama, sorry to say, now so thing. Asami wa how can asam church John Mahama on tie. Now so thing. Can o tie asama kasabre no wa fire no. And I say wa reshuffle no. Only as minister no. Na fa no go communication. So Obakaya National Service Chief Executive Officer no. Sa na so thing. The customer on tie. Ye na ministry of finance. ɛna ɛde ne deputy sisi a yɛsi you nti meka kyerɛ John Mahama so tie mi a so wantie a na NDC foɔ na wɔn hwɛɛ no obi hu video ana so obi hu sɛ asam a meka yɛ a mo forward ma no sɛ the mighty minority in parliament say the minister of communication onyi ne din anaasɛ ɔma ne resign anaasɛ reshuffle no to the ministry of communication na yi ne fi minister no so o disgrace yɛ o disgrace Ghana for ɛna o bridge the Ghanaian peace nti mesrɛ no me demand a me di ma John Mahama no yɛyi ne firi hɔ because or lucky diplomacy or lucky skills or lucky that knowledge to manage a ministry, right? He's much fit to be a propaganda. And no ever one because propaganda no do but doing propaganda work and managing a ministry is different things altogether. Oyenduro, he needs to go back, sit down, learn, and take some courses that will help him better his career. And to say NPP Bapawa 2028 on Tenasi, no sooner name any be. Me say Omoko opposition and make me have a power of you. But all I'm saying is that President John Mahama, please listen to Ghanaians. Please listen to the mighty minority. Almost say, ma, Sam George and resigning. More force no resigning. One resigning unity.
On this issue.
Yes.
Look, I said on this issue.
On this issue, that is what we are demanding. On this issue, he has disappointed us.
But he said multi-choice I comply. Why should he resign?
No, multi-choice and comply. That is why I read the statement. He was saying that. He was saying that Nigeria is 29 for a premium, right? And Ghana we are paying 83. And even compare Liberia, it's cheap there. So he's fighting that we reduce it. And I want to me what failure, want to me and I compare channels in the count. Ghanaians don't want more channel. Ghanaians don't want more channel. GH1 TV say no, but DSTV, ABA, your program, Ghanaians bet here. Your program met here. So it doesn't need more channel. In the own answer, today Ghana News be also. No what here, Dr. Abongo. Otia no wa feel ne ni agye. Na also go fa other channels aka ho a Abraham hia. Eno answer me hia ne say today Ghana News and DSTV so na me hwe na bo ne den enko fom. That is all what Ghanaians are asking for. Opea onko echina onko job enko bi se nipa 100 randomly. Na hwe answer no. Because obi so be open more channel as open price no chote. I would make my bet my last coin. Nemu obi a say obey nipa 100 make say oh me pese esunte. That is the statistic. This is data and data don't lie.
That's it.
Lawrence, say just be fair. Just be fair. Who say Lawrence who yeah who percent price no should tea and I say who percent no channel.
Doc, make your point. Make your point.
Just be fair.
Doc, if Semitia, I'm just saying, and I'm just quoting this figure. If Semitia, let's say 200 cities, and I'm getting like 8 channels, and now I'm paying 200 cities, and I'm getting like 15 channels. Is that not fair?
It's not fair. That's what I'm saying. No, it's 2 things. You are agreeing 2 things. Is that what
okay, Doc,
is that what Ghanaians are asking? Ghanaians are asking price reduction.
Doc, ceasefire. Mr. Mami read reportage from multi-choice. I say from Joy Online. I said multi-choice Ghana has moved to those public concern following the confusion over 8 new DSTV value offerings, which took effect today, 1st October. That was in 2025. In a statement issued in Accra, the satellite television operator clarified that it fully supports the joint media statement announced by the Ministry of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, the National Communications Authority, MultiChoice Africa, and MultiChoice Ghana. The company stressed that implementation of the agreement is already underway. Just to clarify what you said, they've not complied. Now, Mami moving call Neo Datilam Teonum na just to but not me Kaimo say you are still live on Today Ghana News TV, and this is no Kremre. Uko Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn na search handle near Today Ghana News TV. Associate channels are mobile by Hine FM, Achim Hima 93.5 Kings Radio in Accra, Jamframa TV, and no Rara Sekina Information Center at the Lima Pacho, Sober Facebook Niswa. Make sure say what share you made so that also be shared no more the margin chat. Pacho, new that lamte. We are still on the multi choice issue no na. I think we've heard Opening Bennett making his point. Doc also make a point. Where do you stand?
But Loris, first of all, thank you once again for this question. But before I answer, I made multi TV no. Mami go back to a few points. Dr. Bongo me person me clarification. Ma obi biara OTA no. Who baby anokre ekwanda. First of all, he mentioned the seed of NPP's performance is what NDC is benefiting from now, and which is a very big lie. Him as an academic, me would say he would rather focus on the facts rather than just political, gimmicks or talks just to make a point. As I say, you focus on the things that unite us as a country. If we are able to stand on the truth and deal with the issues regarding the facts on the ground, the realities on the ground, I think we'll also develop very, very much. As Bennett said, we've too much politically divided our country, such that even when there's a good thing going on, the other opposition will feel like, okay, because I'm in opposition, as I said, I have to be against anything that the government is doing. I want to ask Dr. Bongo, first of all, which seats? Is it the seats of incompetence, the seats of corruption, the seeds of indiscriminate illegal mining, the seeds of electoral violence, the seeds of deliberate incompetence, the seeds of borrowing more than necessary, the seeds of leaving our education system in shambles? What kind of seeds? He also mentioned, say, President Mahama Suede. But men are saying Suede. I saw ding. It's not gonna for 2 years. We are not smarter, we are not wiser than the 56% people who voted for the NDC to come to power. And in some on the ground, it is very clear that this government is really having the political will to bring governance closer to the people and to also ensure there's accountability, there's transparency. You can see that everybody is getting involved in the political discourse of our country. So that part, let me just put it down. Let's talk about the prices of because go for it. So maybe Dr. Bongo's account, maybe obieti say my clarification. Remember multi-sport because Oma can say move. I'll break it down for everyone to understand. Oka say President Mahama is going to increase the prices of electricity in Siono. Let's all be honest. We were here when the past administration promised that they are not going to IMF, and yet they went to IMF. And one of the conditions for the IMF loan that the services that we got was to increase our utility bills every quarter. So if we are still under the IMF loan scheme and we are doing that, you should know that it was their own government which brought this onto the people of Ghana. The inflation which has gone down is a reflection. Say Nyama is getting better in the country. You don't expect the government to put a magic wand to just change the prices as the currency is going down. So I'll plead with Dr. Bongo to be very honest and truthful about the whole situation. Now, the multi-TV issues, once Ghana we complain a lot. We like to complain about every little thing. Before, you are paying a particular price for less kind of value. A government comes into power, they put things in place, they are very transparent with you, the discussions that went on, everything, bibia clear maganani. Obia only free crown or use the basic subscription, party subscription. First, no, top padina, it was 59 Ghana cedis for the whole month. Right now, no, you see, top party 59 now. It automatically moves you, upgrades you to the access. That means when a 40%, then value more on subscription now one. Dr. Bogo can make a case to say, oh no, or only 2 channels, or maybe fear for the only 2 channels. That means you go for the basic subscription. What of the other people who use these services who have other channels to watch? You cannot make a poll of Ghana with just 5 people, as he said. Him being an academic, I was really shocked because the sample pool of people, the sample, at least, all grade scale now, 5 people cannot represent the whole opinion of Ghanaians. So we should really be very fair in analyzing this part. Now, Lawrence, before, I had to say fuel prices. Answer a buying way, how much were we buying a liter of fuel? And Cecilia, how much are we buying? You were there in the hardship. A government has come, or Boase or Alivieti or Brenny Kakrano. We are still complaining. Instead of us putting our support, rallying behind the country, the president and the administration in charge, making sure say the transparent and accountable governance, which is ongoing, that everyone is getting involved, everyone is knowing the political process, everyone is knowing what each and every government agency or ministry is doing. These are the things that we need to focus on. The prices that was given recently, some people are doing a lot of jandam, or let me say loose talk about it. Some people are saying, oh, now we wanted them to reduce the price. You should bear in mind, sir, this is an organization established in Africa for a very long time. Reducing the price, we should think about the ripple effect it will also affect in other countries. This is a big company. Since you reduce Ghana prices, Namibia for see Kenya for see Nigeria for see. What is it going to be for this company? But at least they've been able to meet Ghanaians in the middle, trying to add more value to the little basic subscriptions that we have. I think it's a good step in the right direction. What we have to do, maybe we can push for more reform, we can push for more negotiation, we can push for more talks. Say, oh, okay, based on this, and I think that this is even a trial period to see how Ghanaians welcome it and to see how people get insulated in it. And see, to make a big case out of it, say, you say it is kind of so gone. Now you're not the same when it will work for some people, but you should also look at the other people. Almost benefiting from other channels.
Nimes for the benefit of the local community. Now, mother tongue now running through. So
fine.
That's it.
Yeah. Some prices now say they are bano. You share the number of channels are obesheno. Sisia no uto basic party 59 automatically a upgrade a call access platform access platform we have 90 more channels. Uto access which was initially 99 cedis so you have 99 cedis now automatically upgrade family which was initially 190 Ghana cedis. It's not about say me 2 channels painting muntis can sumami. Even let's be honest, even when there's deflation, when the country's currency says country be a buying sikaseme wo kronim se sikaseme eko year prices nyama ye tono adwa ye di no nyama ne po no automatically enko form at once, because there are also other factors that are affecting prices of goods and services our community. There were a lot of economic policy our government be using your monetary, your fiscal, a whole lot. Our government, the manages okay. So says kasi kakana ba buying. Okay, so say bet me this car you see. Okay, so say nyama we yen start say yen fa we shemu na yen tete so. Ubisa me J, me on my own opinion, I believe say the rich men in Ghana need businesses can also take up this challenge and to bring out a very say Ghana for your indigenous radio multinational network and also betimi afa this kind of games from other places. Sometimes you bomb match GTV emuntu mi match in Ghana phone share. All these things are things, as I said, the government no to me extra so no working on hardly. But as it stands now, no, it is a very good step in the right direction because maybe I won't share 2 channels, but one of the people want some work more channels so much as well. Now Bennett and be Yama having a DSTV has become like say a privilege be for the rich people, and it shouldn't be so. It should come down to the basic level, 59 cedis a month. I think it's a reasonable price to get the access platform. And I think so Ghana Nibia or Kano Kra or say a bangway yeah at the papa abo mine. Me sure say Ghana Nibia beja too. Otabogo as a kotachi on Galam saying. Say we are Ghana ni papa now so be Kano Kra. We all know where Galamsey came from. But Abanwe is not putting up blames. Abanwe emblem you there. They are trying to make everything right. Say that the fight against illegal mining, the fight against pollution, the fight against climate change in our country is on. While share Senate the chichi machines, gold border arresting criminals, no, or saying they were buying illegal gold. It's illegal gold, no, young Shannon for and fan smuggling call. And I say, you bet me a streamlining the mobile system or a bit me talk gold, no. Now you register go number gold now. You can say unrefined gold, now be refined to be accepted by international standard. We should take away the party lens and focus on the things that unite us as a country.
Okay, Mama, we'll cast and Mama 1 minute to touch on this, like your final say. Maybe I make a doc or na on my. I've got just like 2 minutes. Nah.
Yeah, my final saying is prices no. As I say, I will no. Almost a trial period. I say to me having confidence. You should have the confidence in the government. As I say to me, their support Emma Abino. At least this is a minister all communicating clearly his moves. The all year in Shishaya Koso in Kitahua or other companies AD. Normal average Ghanaian, if you say Onosuka Amamono. This is the step in the right direction. Say bit me ebubu ye ni guso ni akase oh because we promise you say we better price no so price no antes so one my bebre okay and then me turn 1 cedi na me pe brodo ba ko say one me 1 cedi brodo me no account man kase me pe brodo me no it doesn't make sense apo crampo in so ta ojigum nti en ditu ya bu na yen hwe na yen ka no kran mum no kran na e be bo man because you know kase no kran na egu MPP or say me my minority, but they're not mighty in any way. And I'm telling you for a fact, OSHA projections in their banner with this performance that this government is doing, the next elections, MPP will be thrown back to the bush and there will be nothing left of them, government. Thank you so much.
No, that's it. Mama call Ura Bennett one. Me sure say send enough fine bano. At the point in next, you hold your day. Open Bennett. Bennett. I think Yate the side of dog. We there. Mesrel. In just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If there's any rebuttal to what maybe a dog hacker in terms of dog hacker say Nenya Sana Ghana for a penna. Right now they check like I say Honorable Sam George Koyeno, they're gonna fully share and Mwasisano and we deal in a diplomatic way. All the authorities now say some way for and Sasson Emran on and on Wako to the front line or side negotiations, which is not the best in patch up. With me, I can be on that mommy. And that will be your last within 2 minutes. So
yeah. Okay. Your mini amidasi. Met Chamini medium and some propaganda doc here. Or if you see most of the propaganda on the KNC out, I would just let it slide. Minia, so Obekaya, almost every time, yeah, here was some George, Ebetina platforms to be on mentioning the rule of the national, NCA actually in this whole thing. And see, my mama said, doctor said, Dr. Mr. Sam George, I did almost now overall, he is the sector minister. He's in charge of and NCA any all the space that and and so obviously say if BB cost very important. I think say this is a very high level, issue. You know, pass with JIMA, a subordinate institution, and I say a lower institution, I think that the Minister of Communication himself taking up this mantle now, all fighting openly, actually, the goodwill all for the position are all serving any for the good people of Ghana. I mean, yenya mpanimfo bi ọmụ ba akromu asi ya yedo ọmụ kọ sẹ ọmụ ni companies nkọta na sẹ na ọmụ ni nkọmọ na nke yẹn sẹti ọmụ plans of Ghana na in the end no na ọmụ pẹ commissions ewo mu anka yegba Sam George betimi ni multi-choice partners say okay if they make pen ọmụ farmer just give me 1% of that and then you just let it go now I just connection we know say it happens in Africa mpanimfo bi ni companies nkọta na sẹ na ọmụ apagay no then ọmụ discussion ọmụ na timamufo na ebrẹ Sam George a anya saa. Well, Bob on time Ghana for you who said he's fighting for our interests. And see, many the Dr. Abongo there, said the Edomoko position, and he's still doing it. I mean, I was with him during the era of the NPP, and he communicated using the same style. And also, even in opposition, I think says the million kind. If they continue to drive on propaganda, trust me, in 2028, ABN any bush kind of move, or even so because aban no ɛbɔ no mmɔden and obi biara yama ne dibro aban no bia no ɛde ne nsa to wheel no akyi a ɔpushi in the same direction as president no pɛ sɛ yɛnyina yɛkɔ and I think say it is something that is commendable or say yɛnyina yɛsom na yɛboa ama Ghana ɛyɛ die no ɛkɔ so propaganda ɛmmoa yɛn companies not just multi-choice yɛma companies that operate wɔ yɛma no mu sɛ yɛwɔ Ghana mmra saa man also bɔ Ghana for ɛban and every time bia yɛbɛnya panin bi te sɛ Sam George all kasa in our interest we should be able to support it na yɛde
Hallelujah. Enka osro hine. Ka Apostle Stephen Amuakuhu okwantrefo penyi ene kofa baye edema Inner World of God Ministry International ewo biblical truth miminda ediye nimi ene miminda bia abra abo enumre nonso Ghana time yeyi ni life ewo Today Ghana News TV biblical truths power.
Yeah, minim say ni share NDC new because now we introduce as a neutral person. But also need to say and yet Ghana na can say Mimi you see me as an example, just a sample size, and a media example. But as Sam George, on one I can say, on is our comparison. Say Nigeria premium omutia $30. Now I see $29 round. Or see Nigeria omutia $28 and a Ghana tua $83 for the same subscription. Ono Sam George na ekon yam na meka. And our course wa okoko ama price na akofoma wanya and onye more channels to subscription. And any we also order for support it. Ebi debi ni menye sa. Ah oya yesa ama mrao ni menye sa. Anukran wo hodi ya no waka. The truth uko Commonwealth for the vandals truth stand. Anukran the ejina ho opien ko left opien ko and tofum. Ono Sam George no catch say Nigeria the same premium channel no omutua $28,000. Na Ghana ye 83. Into no opeso otiso. At least na ka price na be 50 kura na keye. And okokun ya 1 timi. And we so ba before so. Me hu ni no sa kan say I economic mismanagement na nima ese. Wow sha Nana Akufo-Addo o continue way for 8 consecutive years, 4 terms. But Oshe John Mahama, first term, and Okoye, he voting out. That means he was incompetent. Ghanaians will say no, and they voting out. And also happened the second time. So it was after Nana Akufo enjoy his continuous 8 years. And I miss Aka says, no, you mismanagement na ever. Water bill only increasing about 225%. Light bill the same thing. Na salary are increasing. So uka uye juma edge salary. No teacher salary. No increment now. You cry for teachers. You cry for them. Even government workers, let me say government workers, if they are increasing utility bills and it does not correspond to the increment of salary, you can see the hardship that is going to bring to public service workers. It is misre Ghanaians and a misre obia otie bia say tembia no mukai NPP won mu yegyina muchi ye opposition ejuma ye make sure say John Mahama second coming no they will be accountable to NPP come 2028. Me say in sawam hono no ye be expand no ye ba nima ekokoso no gold board nima ekokoso Minister of Education post na
Doc, we make you a point. I think say we are far behind. So, time we beat here kakra. The mesel. Any day kwan so na my yes we no. And messages no I be bring to me and kind na nemo. Me for some few ones be. This one is saying that I love the speech by the president. Ghana is proud to have you as our president. You are making us proud. Watching from Paris, France, and we, if you Robert campaign ever. Me share few ones. Some men so I can sound and then wrap up the show. Come on. Messages no. Those kakana. Okay, so we if we watch Asempa Hene Boachi says, good evening, watching and listening from Achim Himai. Thank you so much. So do I didn't Jaba. Nyame Yaubio says, good evening, watching from Kwantai DOT region. Your program is also live on our Deleman Community Information Center at Tutupene and KJP. KJB. Thank you so much. I think send the messages me to me and Fanina Embremo. Menda me penny for Mr. Kam as a Mr. Eka opening Bennett Konedu Yado, only a founder for the NDC Diaspora Communicators Network, somewhere or South Africa. South now opening Masood Abungo, a chairman for the NPP Russia branch. Ni Udante Lamte, a political analyst. Samuel also joining in all the way from Poland. Some penny in a day, or better my media, bro. Me, I'm did media which yammy. Within Lawrence, a penny boy, can come in and up with your penny boy, and I'm also. Maybe I will share now with you if there was Yami Adma next week. I say at Nasi. Now I am Ghana. But that opening set at the assay on ye producer director or Samuel. Or feeding chinchima biako ye mammy. But I was beam say one year a program to be Yami Adoma Desene, the Samba Council with no Kremlin live on Today Ghana News TV. But anytime maybe I make sure we feed him that our share. So that Obia or she be an Obenya be 80 non to Nigeria, but Meda was be Macram Yami Adoma Desene Vision.
Gentlemen, at this 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly, I'd like to speak about Africa's role in the future of this organization. However, it's impossible to do that without first considering the collective role that Africa played in its founding, which was small and relatively insignificant. Of the 51 member states involved in the founding of the United Nations in 1945, only 4 were African: Egypt, Ethiopia, Liberia, and South Africa. It is important to point out that the United Nations came into being in the aftermath of World War II because of the inability of its predecessor, the League of Nations, to avert a large-scale global conflict.